The only difference between Muslims and Jews is that Jews never like to spend any money and Muslims never have any money to spend. That's the only difference between the Muslims and the Jews. That's all I'm trying to tell you.
This is great.
All right, that was Ahmed. Oh, the other one was Just Like Us. So do we have Sonia Shiva as well? Oh, do the Just Like Us? Do you have, okay. Talk amongst yourselves. No, while we're waiting for him to load that up, I just have a quick question. What are those magazine articles on your legs?
Exhibit A and B. I just thought Newsweek really has a gripe against.
Yeah. I think we need like a Ricky Martin of Iran. Not Ricky Martin. You know what I'm talking about? Like something.
I actually just the week that this one was out, I went by a newsstand and my eye caught there were about 3 different magazines with something derogatory about Iran. I don't know if you guys saw it. There was one with the bomb, if Iran gets the bomb, and then there was another one, and then there was another one, and there was this one. I felt like it was wherever I went.
I would say it feels like we can't get out of the news. I just wish like all of Iran would just say, just for 2 days, nobody say anything. No bombs, no nothing.
Well, we need Michael Jackson to die again.
Yes. Michael Jackson died, there you go. Right. That'll distract you.
Oh, goodness, I didn't really mean it. I love Michael.
But he died.
I know.
And he took the news, you're right. Well, no, that's true though. That stopped the news for a while about Iran. And for a while, we could be ourselves and not worry. But now we're back with nuclear threats, Ahmadinejad. My God. You got another? You got the Just Like Us? Okay. Shiva.
No, I was just kidding. We'll only be friends. That's it.
I'm getting married.
You're not getting married. Does your family know about the dancing that's going on here?
You blackmailing me? They think I'm attending nursing school.
I had been promoted twice within the last year, and I was going to be promoted to manager this January.
And what happened?
Well, last March I was getting ready to leave on vacation, and a coworker asked me where I was going. I told them I was going home to see my parents.
Technical difficulties, that's fine. I know there's some engineers here tonight. Please. That was David and Layla, right?
The first one, yes. I played a Kurdish refugee, so I wasn't Iranian, I was Kurdish.
You were Kurdish, and you were Muslim, right? No.
I was Muslim, and I fell in love with a Jewish man.
Wow. How'd that go?
Well, as you were saying, we had a lot in common. We all, our father is both Abraham, and there were a lot of similarities. So that's where the comedy came into the film.
Well, that's actually a good transition now into, these things that people, see and hear. Like, people think that, first of all, a lot of people don't even know there's Persian Jews. They don't even know that. And there's a lot of things that people don't know. All they know is what they see and hear. And for example, what you were talking about earlier, and I'm going to come to John on this one, what we see and hear today, just today, you have this guy at Fort Lee who was the Muslim guy who shot people, who now they're saying there was Al-Qaeda ties and what have you. They just executed this guy, the DC sniper who was an American black guy who converted to Islam.
Yeah.
He went from like, John Jones to John Allen Muhammad. I'm like, come on, dude, you have to do that before you go crazy? Come on. So that's what people are hearing. And so, John, to you, how do we break the axis of evil? What should we do? Go around hugging American white people and be like, hey, I'm Iranian, please.
Well, I think everybody else on this panel is doing a terrific job in terms of portraying Middle Easterners and showing Middle Easterners for something other than jihadists, terrorists, everything like that. I was struck by the statistic Reza brought up, which was the 60% of Americans claim they don't know anybody who's Middle Eastern or Muslim, yet the 50% of them or something say that they hate them. Well, how does that stat add up? And I think the answer is because they think they know us. How do they think they know us? Because of what they see on the screen. And I think that shows and highlights the power of the media to not just take people's prejudices, but to ossify them and even perpetuate them further by giving them certain depictions, which they then internalize. Now, on a personal level, as Maz mentioned earlier, I brought the clip of But Not Without My Daughter. It was the bane of my dating existence. You know, having had several women ask me, "You're not going to go Moody Mahmoody on me, are you?" It was an unfortunate aspect of my early teenage years. So one which I would have rather avoided. But on a sort of more serious tone, what's reflected in the media is a very negative, hostile image, repeatedly showing, you know, terrorist portraits, jihadist portraits, misogyny, and sort of, you know, the But Not Without My Daughter is sort of the epitome of that. It sort of gives the blueprint to Americans of the Iranian-American man who seemingly is assimilated, but then taken back to his culture suddenly becomes a rabid misogynist who beats his wife and tells her that he won't leave without his daughter. So I think that's really one of the aspects that I think we need to change. And looking at that in terms of media, one of the things that's kind of unsexy to say is normalize portraits of Middle Easterners, doing normal things. I was talking with Judge Tabador earlier before about this panel, and she suggested we really need a Cosby show for Middle Easterners. And I thought in some ways that's very true, because whenever a theme of terrorism comes up, inevitably Middle Easterners get cast, or people who are not Middle Easterners like Alfred Molina get cast, right? But there are not normalized portraits of Middle Easterners shown. And one example I like to give is at the same time But Not Without My Daughter came out, there was, of course, it was the sort of the beginning of the famous 10-year run of the original Beverly Hills 90210 show, which all of you remember. Now, I personally watched all 300 episodes of the show, and the name of research just for you guys, and there was not a single Middle Easterner ever portrayed in the show. Now imagine when 40% of the Beverly Hills population is Persian. They didn't show a single Middle Easterner. Now imagine setting a show in rural Idaho and not having a single white person for 10 years, or a show in Compton and not having a single black person. I mean, it's unfathomable. But what I'm led to conclude is...
Was that Easy-E rap? It sounded like rap. You said Compton.
Yeah, I was like coming from the city of Compton. Yeah.
Rolling down the street in my 6'4". Okay, that's good.
Yeah, that was nice. So, yeah, but it seemed like without a theme of terrorism, there was no need for Middle Easterners. And unfortunately, there aren't normalized portraits shown of Middle Easterners. And I think one of the things we need this panel is in the age of Obama. And I think there's a lot of optimism about what's going on now with, you know, at least there was back in November, and maybe not so much anymore with the Obama administration. But certainly on the area of race relations, there's certainly a lot of positivity. And as you mentioned, the administration is no longer referring to Iran and other countries as part of the evil. But, you know, and of course it was a big move that an African American was elected the highest office in the country. But at the same time, when I look back at the election and I think about how Obama was attacked, he wasn't attacked necessarily for his blackness, but the attacks were for his Middle Easternness or his Muslimness. So the fact is, it was out of bounds to attack him on black grounds, but sort of Middle Easterners were the new black. That was the acceptable attack point. So people would linger on his name of Hussein. People would question his religion. You know, Hillary Clinton, of course, had her famous pregnant pause where she said, "He's Christian, as far as I know." Would you say that about Bill Clinton? No, of course not. You know, John McCain famously ran into a campaign, a person who in Michigan who on camera said that he wouldn't vote for Obama because Obama was Arab. McCain's response was, no, he's not Arab, he's a good man. So the tenor of the debate, palling around with terrorists, asking about why he has that middle name of Hussein, why he went to a supposedly radical Islamic school when he was in Indonesia, all of the attacks were on Middle Easternness and Muslimness. So I think although there's a lot of optimism to be taken from the election of Obama, we still need to remain vigilant and so show that really there is this sort of last minstrel show of acceptability in terms of portraits of Middle Easterners